This is Run the Numbers. My name is Jason, and today we're covering part three of a three-part series. You could say the final video of the trilogy where we're talking about frozen accounts. So yes, this video on the Run the Numbers channel, that's also part of the warm-up series. So yes, I am moving on the go, maybe a little bit slow, but nonetheless, got some bumps and got some road noise, so you know those are some staples uh, of the warm-up series videos. Alright, so now this video being the third video, hopefully you've seen part 2, and hopefully before that you've seen part 1, where we're talking about the frozen accounts. I'll put the links to those videos in the description. And then also, I would hope maybe you understand the context, why we're talking through frozen accounts, what's the whole reason and impetus for this entire trilogy, is that it came up as I gave an update about Yotta Bank and the unfortunate recent chapter, you could say more ugly chapter in the Yotta story, is that they've had to freeze accounts, and many people are affected by the frozen accounts at Yotta. So I'll also put that video link in the description where I talked about that update of Yotta Bank. So you can kind of get a sense as to the whole story all the way through. But this video in particular, what I'm hoping to share are just some thoughts. Again, this whole effort, all these videos, is all about brainstorming, coming up with some ideas of kind of what to do about frozen accounts. So yeah, it might be because it's on the brain about Yotta. It could be about just simply frozen accounts in general, and kind of the mere threat or thought of frozen accounts, or even just expand this also to think through as to just in a cash crunch, a cash crisis, where I'm gonna turn around, where yes, you need money in a pinch, and so all this is kind of part of the atmosphere here of these videos. So however it helps you to think through this, that's up to you. But this video, what I'd like to really focus on are the possible preventative measures. I want to kind of go through maybe kind of some thoughts, and I'll even kind of go like 3 layers deep. I got this whole 3 theme, the third video, so I'll kind of go through 3 layers of some thinking here related to preventative measures as it pertains to frozen accounts. So before I get into all that, I do want to address some feedback I've been given. I have been given that maybe my language, the way I've been describing everything has not been aggressive enough. Now, I've been told that of like, oh, Jason, you need to let people know they're in crisis mode. They're in a cash crunch. They need to get aggressive. They need to beg, borrow, and steal, and really work a lot more, almost ferociously, to get themselves out of the jam that they might be in. And yeah, okay, fair point. So I'll mention, kind of that mindset of beg, borrow, steal. Maybe like, let's take each part of it. So steal, I won't go into that area. Don't ever steal. Don't go into no on the steal part. The beg and borrow. Well, okay, so beg, it's always helpful to ask people what's possible, what's available. I did kind of go into on a couple of videos here as to, you want to ask maybe your landlord if you could have a bit of flexibility and forgiveness, and you want to ask the credit card companies what are possible arrangements you could work at. Other things, is it begging? I wouldn't say so much, but it's on that vein of you need to figure out and put in some requests and asks about it. Okay, the borrow, that I'll truly raise my hand and say, yeah, I've been remiss and I didn't stress enough of. So yeah, this could be the time as far as what to do. Okay, I'll say and listen to the feedback here that I need to stress more as to, so one thing here in the thoughts and the brainstorm with frozen accounts of kind of what to do is, yeah, you could see this as a time. The least painful thing is, in fact, take out a personal loan or ask some family and friends to borrow some money. Ask some other members of your community, whatever it is. Maybe now's the time to borrow and kind of do what you can do. That's the least painful way to work your way through it. So I give you, yes, I should have maybe definitely put more stress there. Okay. So with that said, let's get into what I promised here of some preventative measure. I promised kind of 3 layers deep. Well, the whole thing of why you might be in a crisis, why you might be having, kind of getting a little tongue-tied, why you might be having these issues related to a cash crunch, particularly brought on by frozen accounts, is that your emergency fund, maybe it was non-existent or maybe it was just inadequate for various reasons, was having some trouble there. Maybe your emergency fund was kind of parked in the same banking solution that, in fact, you're having these frozen accounts. So all this, it needs to be top of mind that are things to improve. So for one, have an emergency fund. That is maybe the sort of the no-brainer. Of course, we got to mention that. Make sure it is adequate enough. Maybe your emergency fund was simply too small. So now this could be a learning point here, and I'll let you kind of answer for yourself what might actually be a larger amount that's a fit for you. That's a kind of a personal thing. So I'll kind of not directly give a amount or kind of try to answer that. I'll let you answer it. But I want to maybe take a turn to say, as much as you need to think through having that emergency fund, having it adequate, make sure that emergency fund is is part of a whole strategy that you're taking advantage of diversification. So you could have your funds in different places. So that's to say many different banking solutions that each have the ability for you to say, okay, if things go wrong at, say, Yotta Bank, or things go wrong at, let's just say an extreme example, maybe even a major, say one of your community banks, or another asset entirely, something goes wrong and you don't have access to those funds anymore. Yes, if you have yet another, solution in place, say a different banking account for your cash, for your savings, checking, whatever it is, all these things can all be rolled into just this thought of you can have many different banking solutions, and that simply can help you mitigate the risk of one going down. Or I'm going to say going down, but in the sense of being frozen and not being helpful to you. Okay, so diversify. This is the next layer in. So the first layer, I promised 3 layers. First layer, having something of an emergency fund. Second layer, having it helpful to you to have that emergency fund diversified. And the third is, let's go 1 layer into that thought of diversification. Maybe you're wanting that, method of diversification to be about the safety of the bank. So this could be the time to realize, Yotta Bank was something of a risk. It's not a major bank, and it's kind of a new startup. So maybe the next thought to have here is, well, it could be nice and safe to put your money into Chase Bank, for example, or Bank of America, or Wells Fargo, or Citibank, one of these major, what some people would point to and say, these banks that are too big to fail. If something goes wrong, you would think there's a swift and full kind of recovery for these kind of banking institutions if anything goes wrong, frozen accounts, that kind of thing. So yes, the next layer deeper here in the preventative measures is to think through where your emergency fund is and how safe and kind of what that institution is, and sort of the mini institutions, and then one in particular could be a very safe, like I said, one of these major too big to fail banks. Okay, so those are the layers deeper in preventative measures. Now there's a lot more to think through of preventative measures as it pertains to frozen accounts. I'm going to leave us there, and it could be something we revisit in another video of its own, but I want to kind of keep it short and sweet as much as possible. I've already rambled, so I'd be interested. If you want to know more, please leave a comment, or otherwise reach me, and I'm gonna leave us there for now. All right, gotta run.